Meet Mona Kawaii, a stunning girl who turned heads from birth. And that's how it's been her whole life. Everyone was captivated by her charm. All wanted to be near her, even in hide and seek, hoping she'd find them. She was like the queen bee wherever she went. For high school, she moves to Tokyo, where it's the same old story. Everyone stares, enchanted by her beauty at school. All except Medaka, a new transfer student from 2 weeks ago. He's the only guy Mona's met who always scowls at her. Mona tries to befriend him, but Medaka just frowns and tells her to leave. The other boys are shocked and annoyed by Medaka's behavior. For Mona, this rejection is a blow to her queen bee status. But she doesn't give up and seeks ways to get closer to Medaka, aiming to win him over. She notices that Medaka likes cats, so she enters cat mode, making kitty gestures and purring at him. Her fans are delighted, but Medaka's the opposite, purring back to keep her distance. Mona's left stunned, and others can't believe it either. All her life since childhood, everyone fought for Mona's attention. She even received confessions, some from older people. She can't stand the thought of someone resisting her charms. But she doesn't think he's unbreakable, so she uses her secret weapons. First, her thighs, which drive boys crazy. She's putting up a poster showing off her legs in Medaka's face, but he just frowns and leaves. Mona's defeated again, but persists, now revealing a stronger asset, her underwear. She pretends to fall on purpose, and the boys around her worry. She acts clumsy and blushing, asking if they saw anything. The boys nervously say no, but Mona's just trying to see Medaka's reaction to her sexy clumsiness. He just frowns again and leaves. Mona realizes Medaka's immune to everything, so she resorts to her last trick. In class, Mona fakes being sick and asks the teacher if she can go to the infirmary. The teacher agrees and asks for a volunteer. Mona throws herself at Medaka, saying he'll go with her, shocking everyone. But this is Mona's plan, to corner Medaka and flirt with him. Mona's never gone this far for a boy, but seeing Medaka resist her, she'll do this to keep her reputation as the irresistible girl. Mona acts shy, asking if he dislikes her or if she did something wrong, since he always frowns and is distant with her. Mona finally seems to have Medaka cornered, seeing him nervous, but he suddenly regains his composure. Mona thinks she's got him, so she doesn't want to back down now. She pulls him inside, trips on the curtain, and they both fall onto the infirmary bed. This is too much even for Mona. She apologizes, but seeing Medaka's dismissive look, she can't take it. It's a blow to her pride. Medaka's unfazed, despite having the world's beauty on top of him. Blinded by the situation, she desperately shows her beauty, forcefully unbuttoning her blouse. Protecting her queen bee status makes her act uncharacteristically, yet Medaka remains stoic. Now Mona truly feels defeated. She's drowsy and throws a tantrum when someone resists her charms. In her fit, she nearly falls off the bed. Medaka catches her before she hits the floor and asks if she's alright. This calms Mona, but she realizes her chest is exposed and asks him to let go for a moment. Medaka snaps back, flustered, saying he didn't mean anything inappropriate. He frowns and says he'll return to the room. Before leaving, he tells Mona these things should only be done with someone she truly loves. His sincere words stir Mona's heart, leaving her flustered and wondering why she lets Medaka affect her so much. Later, Mona returns to class. Everyone asks if she's okay. She says yes, but feels Medaka's gaze from across the room. She thanks him for caring for her while sick, but can't look him in the eye due to nerves. Medaka's gaze follows her, making her even more anxious. Medaka's intense stare leaves her frozen in place. She thinks these nerves mean love, but denies it, hitting her head to stop such thoughts. Now she's determined to make Medaka fall for her, planning to capture his heart. Next day, Mona arrives at school, greeted as usual, mentally singing about her beauty. Medaka interrupts her. Mona greets him kindly, but he responds out of obligation. Mona's still annoyed that she's always giving her the stink eye. Medaka was frowning and Asahi blushed while looking at him. Her friend Minami asks what's wrong, but Asahi says it's nothing. In PE class, Mona seizes the chance to flaunt her physical assets. Everyone's watching her except Medaka. Mona tries to call him directly, but he ignores her. Once again, Mona fails to grab his attention. She tried with her butt and breasts, but it didn't work. Then she thinks of another weapon she has. No, not that extreme. Let's go back to episode 1. She's referring to her belly button. After class, she wipes sweat, lifting her shirt to show her midriff. While everyone feels blessed, Medaka frowns again. He leaves, repeating clear mind, pure spirit to himself over and over again. And once more, Mona is defeated. Spirits low, she pursues the only boy who resists her. She notices he gets nervous when she's near. A small win for Mona, but she's too tired to tease him more. Before leaving, she gets some water. Medaka sees her growing more anxious. Mona notices he seems to react to her. Excited, she squeezes the tap, splashing water everywhere. Her shirt gets soaked, revealing her bra. Medaka yells, red-faced. Mona screams, realizing she's exposed. She tries to cover up, but can't go back like this. Medaka, being a gentleman, gives her his shirt. Mona blushes more, especially seeing Medaka's abs. She wanted him to see her navel, but saw his instead. Mona thanks him, and Medaka leaves. A classmate witnessed the whole thing. Medaka heads home. He worries his shirt might smell of sweat. He blushes, thinking his shirt might now smell like Mona. That's when Mona's admirers show up. They want to ask Medaka why he's always cold and distant to Mona. So Medaka explains. Turns out he's heir to a temple, a feline temple, and he's forbidden from getting close to girls. They ask if he's ever had a girlfriend. Medaka says no. His village only had old folks and goats. I'd rather not imagine what desperate boys did with those goats. The admirers finally get why Medaka treats Mona that way. Medaka never thought the city would be a sea of temptations. He'd only seen cute girls like Mona on TV. Having one nearby, and flirting with him no less, it makes him...
I didn't care anymore!
But no, Medaka shakes off any impure thoughts. He repeats to himself, clear mind, pure spirit. Medaka vows to live a life free from temptations and worldly thoughts, but it's going to be tough. In class, Mona returns his shirt. Medaka's a bit nervous. Mona seizes the chance to make him blush, saying she abused his shirt, asking if he'd have preferred she didn't, so his shirt would smell like her. Medaka blushes but frowns. Same old story. Now Mona aims to make Medaka fall for her. In art class, Mona's modeling for Medaka, who maintains a clear mind and focused spirit. Mona's willing to do anything for Medaka's painting, jokingly saying no nudes, but Medaka's face turns serious. Mona's master plan, model for Medaka to showcase her beauty, recalling how Medaka couldn't stop staring after sports. She recreates that same pose. Everyone's charmed by Mona's cuteness, but Medaka resists temptation like a champ. Mona's defeated again. Medaka paints normally, not blushing at all, which annoys Mona. She notices classmate Haruno staring for a while, then sees Medaka fixated on her too. Medaka focuses on Mona's neck to paint it, making Mona blush from the intense attention. Mona rushes out for air, wishing Medaka would look at her like that more often. Medaka finishes painting. Friends ask about the photo, making her blush. She keeps a clear mind. In the library, Mona approaches Medaka to read together. She notices Haruno still watching, but realizes he might not be looking at her, but at Medaka instead. She wonders if Haruno could be in love with Medaka, and considers that Medaka might like girls like Haruno. She feels she must act quickly to win Medaka's heart before someone else does. She decides to emulate Haruno, who's calm and studious. Putting on glasses, she reads elegantly, making Medaka blush. Mona goes all out, playfully tapping Medaka's leg. But Medaka stays focused, keeping a clear mind and spirit. Medaka ignores Mona again, defeating her. Mona notices Haruno's admiring gaze, confirming she's head over heels for Medaka. Mona gets defensive, not wanting to lose Medaka, so she scopes out her rival. She notices Haruno's a sweetheart, diligent, organized, and kind, basically perfect. Mona's anxiety grows, realizing her rival's great qualities. She checks for physical traits too, finding Haruno's got it all. Plus, Haruno's modest about her looks, unlike the self-centered Mona. Mona's bummed, realizing she's up against a sweet girl. Tough competition. The glasses guy brings Mona a book she wanted. She thanks him, saying she loves it. She realizes she's never told Medaka she loves him. So she tries. On the roof, she tosses her handkerchief for Medaka to catch, hoping to thank him. Just as she's about to confess her love, the words won't come out. No matter how hard she tries, she can't say, "I love you." She's too nervous. She wonders why it's so hard now when she said it easily before. The wind starts to pick up. Her skirt lifts and Mona seizes the chance to call him a pervert, escaping the awkward moment. In the end, nothing changed. Now they're picking members for the school festival committee. As fate would have it, Haruno and Mona are chosen. Mona can't believe she has to work with her rival, while Haruno seems delighted. This annoys Mona more, thinking Haruno doesn't see her as competition. Her queen bee instinct warns her about sweet, kind girls like Haruno. Haruno gets nervous, not wanting Mona to see her phone. Mona suspects Haruno's hiding something important, but Haruno says she'll get upset if she sees it. Mona chases her, yelling she won't be mad as long as Haruno doesn't try to take her Medaka. Mona catches up and checks Haruno's phone, finding it full of photos of herself. Haruno didn't want Mona to see this, fearing she'd be angry about being watched. It turns out Haruno was observing Mona because she's her biggest fan. She took about 300 photos and set one as her phone's lock screen. Mona realizes Haruno isn't interested in Medaka, but she'd been yelling at her to stay away from him. To avoid seeming obsessed with Medaka, Mona claims she meant Medaka fish, telling Haruno to stay away from her fish, not the Medaka in their class. But Haruno knows everything, having observed Mona's clear infatuation with Medaka all along. While it seems obvious, Mona doesn't want Haruno to think that. The school festival's here, but Mona's not feeling great. She still can't break through Medaka's barrier. To make matters worse, Haruno thinks Mona's head over heels for Medaka. Haruno tells Mona the festival's perfect for winning her knight's heart. He's right, plus there's a legend. Couples who hold hands on the love bridge are destined to be together. The class plans a costume cafe. Mona tries outfits to quicken Medaka's pulse, donning a sexy bunny suit. But it's too much, even for her. For better or worse, Medaka shows up. Mona gets nervous, says she's just trying on costumes. Meanwhile, Medaka keeps reminding himself to keep a clear mind and spirit. Haruno's about to enter, and Mona doesn't want him to see her like this. He might think she's so desperate for Medaka's love that she's wearing revealing outfits. She hurriedly pulls Medaka to hide, not realizing how cramped their hiding spot would be. Mona feels incredibly close to him, even sensing his breath. Both are tense in this situation. Mona and Medaka's hearts are racing, but Mona's more so, as Medaka has the power of a clear mind and spirit. Eventually, Haruno is called away elsewhere. Mona and Medaka emerge. Having been forced into this, Mona thinks she's finally won Medaka over, but Medaka remains as serious as ever. In the end, none of this worked to make him fall for her. She looks in the mirror, realizing how daring and far from cute this outfit is. She accidentally says this last thought out loud, voicing what she was thinking. Hearing her say that, Medaka tells her she actually does look pretty. Mona reacts to Medaka calling her cute, thinking he's finally fallen for her charm. She thinks she'll be the queen bee, but Medaka keeps ignoring her as usual. The school festival arrives, and their class cafe is a hit, thanks to Mona's beauty. Asahi's at the cafe, here just to see Medaka, but he's in the kitchen. Mona urges Medaka to take a break, noting he hasn't left the kitchen all day. Medaka initially refuses, saying he doesn't need a break. Mona's noticed Medaka's been more distant since the costume incident. But she won't give up. Today's her chance to settle things once and for all. Haruno arrives and orders Medaka to promote the cafe with Mona, hoping they'll spend time together. She thinks Mona likes Medaka, but Mona allows it as it fits her plan. Mona plans to visit emotional spots at the festival, but Medaka's excited about a haunted house, which Mona dislikes. She reluctantly enters. Scared, her skirt gets caught on a cardboard prop. She runs out frightened, dragging the prop. All of Mona's festival plans go terribly wrong. Time's running out when they reach the Bridge of Love for eternal romance. Mona sees couples on the bridge while the cafe struggles. Medaka, the only skilled cook, is absent, which Sagi laments. Sagi must leave for club, disappointed to miss seeing Medaka. On the love bridge, couples see Mona and think she's with her boyfriend. If Mona doesn't act, people will think she loves Medaka, just as Haruno does. So she pretends she's there to promote her costume cafe, which works. People believe her. Still, Mona doesn't want to waste this chance and tells Medaka about the love bridge legend. If you hold hands with someone, you're destined to love that person forever. Then, Mona brushes Medaka's hand to make her heart race, which works. But Mona doesn't stop there. She now pretends she can't walk, so Medaka has to hold her hand. But Medaka does something Mona never expected. He picks her up, tells her to hurry back to class. Mona blushes, scolding herself for always blushing because of Medaka, when it should be the other way around. Despite this, Mona won't give up. The festival's almost over and she must hurry. Her class needs help with the cafe, as after promoting the Bridge of Love, several couples have come to the cafe needing assistance. Mona seems to have lost hope, but Haruno won't let her friend miss out. She sends Medaka to help Mona move tables. Again, Haruno's helping Mona, but Mona's so down from recent setbacks, she's not in the mood to tease Medaka. An awkward silence follows. Mona asks Medaka if he enjoyed the festival. She then trips over boxes and one's about to hit her head. Medaka saves her just in time, grabbing her hands. As if by fate, he holds her hands inside the Bridge of Love. Blushing, Medaka tells her the legend doesn't work now since the festival's over. Mona, also blushing, agrees. Answering her question, Medaka says he felt things he'd never experienced before at the festival. Mona blushes even more. The festival ends with several new couples formed. It seems the Bridge of Love did its job. Mona spots Medaka and her heart races. When he turns, she quickly hides. Mona wonders why she hid. She shouldn't be shy with him, so she nervously greets him. Friends suggest bowling. Mona sees a chance to win Medaka's heart, but gets nervous around him. Recalling the festival makes her flustered, but she's determined not to be shy. She gathers courage to talk to him. To prove she's not nervous around him, she grabs his bottle, planning an indirect kiss since Medaka drank from it too. But Mona wants to make Medaka's heart race, not hers, so she boldly takes the indirect kiss. Expecting an emotional reaction from Medaka, she's met with his usual serious face again. Mona feels defeated once more, but Medaka is secretly affected by Mona's actions. The next day, Mona tries to forget everything and her nerves, returning to her usual self. She attempts to approach Medaka kindly, but he still rejects her advances. Fed up, his friends confront Medaka outside school. Sho scolds him for mistreating Mona despite her efforts. Medaka claims he must resist temptation to uphold his principles as temple heir. Yuzuru asks if that means being unkind. Medaka is lost in thought. Haruno arrives, also telling her she's mistreating Mona, but more heatedly. Onlookers assume they're breaking up. People always think it's about couples. Haruno leaves, reminding Medaka of her mistakes. Medaka realizes they're right. Despite everything, Mona is a kind-hearted girl. In class, Mona forgets her book. Medaka tries to return the kindness by sharing hers. Mona happily tries to join desks, but Medaka pulls away. Mona's hurt by this. Nearby, Sho and Yuzuru try to reason with Medaka. Haruno's watching too. Medaka apologizes, explaining her surprise. She joins the desks to share the book. Friends are proud of Medaka, and Haruno is happy for Mona. She takes the chance to snap a photo of Mona smiling. After that small win, Mona happily heads to school in the rain, and as fate would have it, she runs into Medaka. Mona sees a chance to win his heart, since after recent events, Medaka's no longer distant with her. Medaka's without an umbrella because he left it with some kittens caught in the rain. This kind act makes Mona's heart race, but she's the one who needs to get Medaka's heart racing, so she offers to share her umbrella. Medaka reluctantly accepts, but keeps his distance from her. Mona notices he's getting wet, so she moves closer to cover both of them, but Medaka still tries to maintain space. At school, they see the basketball players, with Asagi standing out for her skills. But when Asagi notices Medaka watching, she gets nervous and falls, causing the ball to bounce towards Mona's face. But Medaka swiftly saves her from a hard hit. Another of Medaka's actions that makes Mona's heart race. Asagi drags Mona aside to ask her something if she's Medaka's girlfriend.
Surprised by Asagi's boldness, Mona says she's not dating Medaka and doesn't even like him. Asagi doubts her, noting they're always together and share umbrellas like couples do. Asagi gets aggressive, but her friends hold her back. As they leave, Mona suspects Asagi likes Medaka, seeing her nervousness around him. Asagi transforms from a bold girl to a shy one. Asagi blushes so hard she falls, accidentally revealing too much. Mona thinks it's intentional, but Asagi's just nervous and leaves without a word. Medaka now knows Asagi better, worrying Mona, who fears losing him to her. Then in PE class, she shows she can be good at basketball too, so whenever Medaka thinks of a great player, he'll think of her, not Asagi. Mona proves to be skilled at basketball, unlike Medaka, who's terrible at it. Mona offers to teach him, but tries to seduce him in the process. Medaka tries to stay focused, but Mona goes all out. She presses against his back, too much even for her, but can't stop now. Asagi arrives, gets upset and declares war on Mona. Asagi wants to teach Medaka too, suggesting strength exercises. As he bends down, Medaka sees Asagi's exposed chest. Mona's shocked, thinking it's intentional, so she follows suit, showing off her assets. Asagi and Mona compete to see who can fluster Medaka more, who's already quite flustered. But what really pushes him over the edge is Asagi's million-dollar question. Seeing both girls flaunting their chests, Asagi asks Medaka if he prefers big or small. Medaka loses it and bolts. The love rivals stare at each other, then both regret their actions. After the incident, Medaka hasn't returned to class. Mona thinks it's because Asahi upset her with his direct flirting, but recalls Medaka was sneezing, which could mean she got sick from being in the rain when she was walking away from Mona while sharing an umbrella. Medaka's friends plan to visit him at home. Mona overhears and sees a chance, and Asahi's also alert. So Mona follows the boys to Medaka's house, but Asahi follows too. When the friends leave, the girls enter, and Medaka's surprised to find two girls at his door. He'd never invited girls over, yet they enter confidently. They came to care for him while he's sick, each trying to outdo the other in nursing him. But Mona wouldn't miss this chance. She donned a nurse outfit to care for Medaka, unaware Asahi had similar plans. Asahi dressed as a doctor, surprising Medaka. Mona regretted her choice as she'd brought the costumes and Asahi boldly took the other one. As Medaka rests, Mona questions Asahi about her interest in him. Unlike Asahi, who genuinely likes him, Mona has no real interest. She just wants to make him fall for her, like all boys, to keep her queen bee status. But Asahi's motives are different. She wants to be with Medaka, do couple things, like kissing. Asahi blushes at this and leaves to buy a drink, warning Mona not to try anything strange with Medaka. While she's away, Asahi steps out and recalls the moment he fell in love. Leaving the classroom, he overhears girls chatting about love at first sight. Asahi thought it silly, but bumping into Medaka, the phrase suddenly clicked. Asahi falls for Medaka instantly. Mona wonders if she's in love too. She denies it, but her thoughts say otherwise. Mona goes to see Medaka. She sits on his bed. Medaka stirs, reaching for Mona while still asleep. Mona sees him vulnerable, eyes on his lips. After Asahi's words, she's curious about kissing him. As she leans in, Asahi arrives. Angry, he confronts Mona, asking why she tried to kiss Medaka if she claims not to like him. Mona panics, unsure herself. She tries to hide it but can't, then blurts out that trying to win Medaka's heart just because he's the only one immune to her charms. Asahi finally understands why Mona's so forward with Medaka. Though she claims it's just for fun, Asahi knows she really likes him. She officially declares herself his rival in love, but they also become sort of friends. Haruno gets jealous and sees Asahi as a rival for Mona's friendship. Eventually, Medaka recovers and returns to class. Asahi goes back to her classroom, nervous about seeing her crush. Mona's also anxious, unable to face or speak to Medaka since the incident at his house. When Medaka tries to talk to her, it's his first time taking initiative. But Mona, too nervous, always makes excuses to avoid him. Suddenly Mona faints. It turns out she's fallen ill. She wakes up in the infirmary with Medaka there. He wanted to thank her, for taking care of him. Mona's heart races, especially when she imagines how Medaka might have carried her to the infirmary. All this makes her blush, though she tries to blame it on the fever, not on Medaka. But Mona's slowly falling for Medaka when it should be the other way around. She's conflicted, her heart racing even more as she pictures Medaka carrying her. This makes her blush harder, though she wants to think it's just the fever, not her feelings for Medaka. But Mona's gradually falling for Medaka, despite her efforts to resist. It's becoming clear that she's the one falling in love, when it should have been Medaka falling for her instead. Medaka's friends set a sexy girl's photo as his phone's lock screen. They claim it's to help him build resistance to such things. Medaka takes his phone back and leaves. He says he'll delete it, but wants one last look first. Medaka's not as resilient now, all because of Mona. Speaking of her, she's with Haruno. Haruno plans to send Medaka a cute photo of Mona to help her. Mona agrees, then regrets it seeing the nervous photo chosen. Anyone would think Mona's madly in love with him. She asks Haruno to delete it, but his phone dies. Desperate, Mona rushes to delete it from Medaka's phone. Medaka's on the roof, hiding to look at a striking photo on his phone. He's about to delete it when Mona suddenly shows up. She sternly tells him not to look at that photo. Embarrassed, Medaka fumbles and his phone flies into Mona's hands. Mona proceeds to delete the message. She glimpses Medaka's lock screen, truly catching him red-handed. Medaka explains his friend set the photo, but Mona leaves silently. He's puzzled by Mona's new expression, clearly showing jealousy. She's upset he has another girl's photo when she's right there. Since then, Mona's been staring intently at Medaka. He's overheard asking friends not to set such photos again. They mention that guys always have a photo of a pretty girl on their phone, and Mona says, if he's gonna have a girl's pic, it should be hers. So she quickly snaps a selfie and sends it to Medaka to set as his phone background. But Medaka deletes it right away to avoid temptation. Mona's rejected again, and Haruno reminds her Halloween's coming up. Mona thinks Halloween's perfect for a pic Medaka will love enough to use on his phone. But she's unsure what costume he'd like, as bunny and nurse outfits didn't work before. So Mona has the bright idea to go shopping for costumes Medaka might like. They decide to go as a group. Bad news for Mona, Asahi's coming too, invited to Mona's class costume party. So they head to the costume shop. Mona tries on a few, but can't waste time. She needs to know what costume Medaka likes. She also has to keep an eye on Asahi to prevent her from getting ahead. She checks on Asahi first, but sees her so indecisive that she thinks it won't be an issue. Mona leaves and Asahi's friend arrives. Minami came knowing Asahi would struggle to pick a costume to win Medaka over. She helps Asahi choose, making her try on several costumes before finding the perfect one. Meanwhile, Mona spies on the boys and asks Medaka what costume he'd like to see on a girl. But Mona's curiosity gets her caught. Medaka goes to check who's hiding, but Mona hides in the horse costumes. Medaka returns to his friends and points out the costume he'd like to see on a girl. But with the horse mask on, Mona can't see which costume Medaka chose. When the boys leave, Mona checks out what costume Medaka might have picked. She finds a very revealing outfit. Mona thinks it's too much, but she's willing to go all out to win Medaka over. Everyone has now chosen their costumes. Haruno picked a fairy costume. Asahi went for a goth girl look. Mona, thinking Medaka would like it, comes out as a mummy. It's more skin than bandages, of course. Everyone's shocked, thinking Mona's into provocative stuff. Mona waits for Medaka's reaction, but he just frowns again. Blushing hard, Mona yells she's not a pervert. They hear that this mummy outfit was next to Medaka's choice. So Mona dressed as a sexy mummy for nothing. In the end, Mona claims it was just a joke. She says she doesn't like that stuff and will wear her real costume at the party, a costume she's already decided on. Now she'll go all out to win Medaka's heart on Halloween. Halloween arrives and Mona gets the costume Medaka liked. They arrive at the party venue, but it hasn't started as they need to get ready. The girls change, with Asahi in a goth outfit and Mona in her witch costume. Asahi's glad she didn't wear the mummy suit, as it'd cause a stir for being too revealing. Gerudo didn't go with the bee costume because she felt uncomfortable and bought a popular ghost costume instead, which covers her face, making her feel more at ease. Heading to the party, Mona forgets her hat. As she retrieves it, her zipper snags. She struggles to fix it just as Medaka approaches. He also bought a ghost costume, feeling comfortable with his face covered. This creates a problem as Mona thinks he's Haruno, so she confidently asks him to help zip up her dress. Thinking it's Haruno, she says she's glad to have her here, as she'd never ask a guy for this. Medaka wanted to reveal himself, but now he has to help and leave quietly, maintaining the illusion. He zips her up calmly, but his agitation makes Mona think the mask is causing breathing issues. She removes the mask and is shocked to see Medaka. Both flustered, Mona ties Haruno's costume to avoid future mix-ups. Mona tries to ignore that Medaka saw her bare back and focuses on getting a photo of herself that Medaka would love enough to use as his phone wallpaper. She hopes this will make a lasting impression on him. Luckily, the party organizer Cho brings a game where the guy has to sell his partner by mummifying her, and the couple with the best mummy wins. Mona realizes if she's Medaka's partner and they win, they'll take a photo. Since it'd be natural, Medaka wouldn't delete it like he did with her solo photo. But she's not the only one eyeing Medaka. Asahi steps up too. Medaka picks number 8, so both girls rush for it, grabbing it at the same time. Asahi won't budge, even as Mona tries to yank it away. Mona says Medaka's behind them, spooking Asahi. Mona snags number 8. Couples form, game starts. Haruno spots Mona with Medaka and snaps a pic. The game begins, couples start mummifying. Medaka can't wrap Mona well, avoiding too much contact. This isn't good for Mona as other pairs are getting mummified quickly. Mona asks Medaka to touch more and wrap tighter, but he resists temptation. Instead of making it easy, Mona makes it tough, and maybe exciting. Medaka can't win, and Haruno ends up victorious, taking a photo with her partner. Mona misses out as other girls casually approach Medaka for pictures. They just want a souvenir photo, but Mona's annoyed as the girls get too close to Medaka. She interrupts, saying she wants a photo too for memories. Medaka scowls, saying he's done with photos. But there's one more, the group picture. Mona's disappointed, nothing went her way. She chose an outfit Medaka liked, but it didn't help. Despite her efforts, Medaka took photos with others. Mona grabs Medaka, dejectedly calling him a fool. The group photo's taken, and Mona heads home defeated. Afterward, Medaka wonders if Mona's upset. Iko and Yuzuru were already suspicious. They noticed something off in the group photo, where both looked at each other strangely. They suggest talking to Mona, who just then arrives to greet them. They tell Medaka to talk to her, but he runs away. Mona regrets being so impulsive. She thinks she shouldn't have come after what happened at the party. She figures Medaka must be uncomfortable. As they brainstorm, the teacher assigns them both to clean the storage room. Mona sees this as a chance to fix things. She thinks her beauty might solve the problem. She tries to charm Medaka by wagging her tail while she's cleaning the floor. She hopes this will work, but Medaka runs off again. Mona chases him and accidentally spills water on him. Mona apologizes and regrets always ruining everything, feeling her efforts are worthless. Like on Halloween, when other girls ended up getting a photo with Medaka instead. Remembering that, Mona feels annoyed. She doesn't know why, but it's clearly jealousy. As she tries to apologize, Medaka speaks first, saying he's sorry for not expressing himself well. He explains he didn't mean to refuse a photo, he just got nervous after so many pictures with others. Mona also apologizes for getting angry without reason. Though there is a reason, jealousy. But she doesn't realize it yet. At home, Medaka looks at the group photo. He gets a message from Haruno, who sent him the picture taken with Mona. Medaka likes the photo so much that he sets it as his wallpaper, but he stays true to his beliefs and mustn't fall, as if putting a casual photo with a friend was a sin. But for him, anything involving girls is a sin. Meanwhile, Mona's childhood friend arrives. Her name is Tomo and she's visiting Tokyo. Tomo texts Mona, saying he's arrived and wants to see her. Mona asks why he's in Tokyo and about school, but Tomo dodges the questions. At school, Asahi spies on Medaka, admiring him. He notices she flees nervously, dropping her school ID. Asahi chats with Minami about winning Medaka's heart. They overhear classmates discussing a movie scene where a guy steals a kiss from a girl in a romance. Minami suggests Asahi do the same. Just then, Medaka arrives to return Asahi's ID. Before he leaves, Minami tells Medaka that Asahi wants to grab lunch. They end up eating alone on the roof.
She has a chance to outdo Mona, but words fail her. Nervous, she asks Medaka to cover his face. He apologizes for the awkwardness, but Medaka doesn't seem to mind. Asahi feels more at ease and enjoys eating alone with Medaka, thinking she could do this anytime if she were his girlfriend. Asahi decides to take action. She asks Medaka, trick or treat, referencing Halloween, despite it being over. Asahi seizes the moment. Medaka says he has no candy, so Asahi decides to play a trick by stealing a kiss. A kiss on the cheek. Medaka is confused about what happened, and Asahi keeps quiet. Meanwhile, Mona goes to see her childhood friend Tomo, finding her flirting with boys as usual. The friends reunite after a while. Seeing two pretty girls meet, the boys want to ask them out, but Tomo rejects them all. Mona and Tomo go to catch up. Mona scolds her because she's barely in Tokyo and already flirting with boys, plus wearing revealing clothes. Tomo says she's dressed casually and flirting is just her usual behavior. Tomo thinks Mona's still playing the clumsy girl act, like she did in high school. She recalls how everyone was crazy about Mona back then, and that boosted Mona's ego. Mona says Tomo was popular too, but only because she dated guys Mona rejected. Mona, despite being the prettiest, never had a boyfriend. Tomo asks if there's anyone she likes, and Mona denies it but then thinks of Medaka. She gets flustered, and Tomo suspects Mona's in love. Just then, Medaka shows up. Turns out Sho sent him to buy food. Tomo, known to Mona, approaches Medaka, clings to his arm and tries to flirt again. But she stops upon seeing Mona's face, which says it all. Tomo understands Mona's feelings for Medaka and decides to tease her for fun. Medaka nervously asks Tomo to button up her sweater, as it's too revealing. Tomo asks him to do it, teasing Mona. As Medaka struggles with the tight sweater, Tomo lets out a playful moan. Mona interrupts, telling Medaka his order must be ready, and he leaves. Mona looks relieved as Medaka escapes Tomo's clutches. Seeing Mona's reaction, Tomo starts laughing. Later, Tomo tells Mona she's noticed her love for Medaka. Despite Mona's denial, Tomo's sure of what she's seen. They say goodbye, and the next day at school, the teacher introduces a new classmate, none other than Tomo. Turns out Tomo didn't come for vacation, but to stay in the city and attend Mona's school. Mona's not thrilled about this. Tomo warns her that if she stays grumpy, she'll reveal Mona's true personality to the class, ruining her image of being clumsy and sweet. So Mona has no choice but to accept her friend Tomo. Tomo makes it clear she's Mona's childhood friend, even grabbing Mona's chest without hesitation. Medaka and others are shocked. Mona slaps Tomo and drags her to the roof to warn her never to do that again in public. With a handprint on her face, Tomo apologizes, saying she only did it to show Medaka Mona's amazing figure. Mona clarifies she's not in love with Medaka and explains why she's pursuing him. Tomo gets it, thinking someone like Mona wouldn't go for an apathetic, unattractive guy like Medaka. Mona quietly admits Medaka isn't that bad, telling Tomo that despite everything, he's quite popular with women because he's kind and always ready to help. She starts listing Medaka's good qualities, saying he always knows what to say at the right time. In short, she calls him cute and cool. Tomo had trash-talked Medaka to confirm that Mona indeed has feelings for him. Tomo offers to support Mona in developing her feelings. Mona gets annoyed, while Tomo's excited to see her friend fall in love for the first time. From now on, Tomo will do his best to make Mona realize she's truly in love, even if she denies it. That's when he meets Saji and Minami. Tomo hugs them confidently, asking Saji to back off, which only makes him more affectionate, liking her selectiveness. Mona notices Minami staring, realizing she's sizing up her friend's competition. Minami reminds Saji that he came to tell Mona something. Saji takes her to the roof and Tomo follows to see what's happening. Saji feels he shouldn't hide it and tells her he stole a kiss from Medaka. Mona is shocked and at a loss for words. Tomo overheard it all, thinking stealing a kiss isn't the same as actually kissing. Tomo assumes it was just a peck on the cheek, which is true. But Mona's so upset, she assumes the worst, confused why she's so worked up about it. Tomo observes and realizes Mona is indeed in love. At home, Mona ponders Saji's words, thinking a kiss means they're dating. She's angry, feeling her efforts were wasted if Medaka's seeing others. Then she realizes stealing a kiss doesn't mean they actually kissed.
Mona's relieved but questions her feelings, thinking she should be pursued, not pursuing. Just imagining Medaka with another girl upsets her, confusing her more. The next day, Tomo throws a welcome party and invites everyone. Mona arrives tired, worried Saji might make a move on Medaka unnoticed. As Medaka arrives with Tomo, whom he met on the way, Mona gets distracted staring at Medaka's lips. Saji seizes the chance to greet him, but Mona's not far behind. A duel for love is about to begin. Tomo plans to step in if needed to help Mona, which is why they came to the amusement park. While Tomo planned this to help Mona, Minami also set up situations to assist Saji. Both girls planned which rides to go on to get closer to Medaka. The first plan is to ride the roller coaster with him. Saji pretends to be scared and asks Medaka to ride with her. Mona's surprised by Saji's move. Tired from not sleeping, she's unsure what to do. Sho offers to ride with Saji, but Minami says she'll go with Sho instead as per the plan. So the event begins, but first Tomo pretends she doesn't want to ride the roller coaster. Not wanting Mona to miss out, she asks Medaka if he can ride with Mona after going with Saji. Medaka agrees without hesitation, and Tomo gives Mona this opportunity. Saji sits in front with Medaka, saying it's less scary up there, but as they climb higher, Saji takes Medaka's hand, saying he's less afraid when holding hands. Medaka tries to keep a clear mind and stay calm as they continue ascending. Before reaching the top, Saji admits he lied. These things don't actually scare him. Now they're speeding along, and Saji raises Medaka's hand to feel the rush of air. Mona watches, stunned by the advantage Saji is gaining. It's her turn now, but Mona's unsure how to match Saji's lead. He then directly asks if she's fallen for Saji. Medaka's surprised face scares Mona, making her think it's true. But no, Medaka denies it. Mona's relieved yet confused by her relief. Medaka sees it as typical love talk for their age. To keep up, he asks Mona if she's in love with anyone. This question makes Mona overthink, staying silent the whole trip. Medaka thinks she's upset, but she's just lost in thought. The park mascot appears, and Minami eagerly wants photos. Akistan uses this to pair Mona and Medaka, sending them for food. At the food stall, they find a couple's promotion. They pretend to be a couple to get the deal. The vendor asks for a kiss to prove they're together. Medaka freezes, while Mona musters courage to face the moment. Mona's ready to kiss him, but as she leans in closer, she hesitates, not daring to steal a kiss. Medaka's all set, even waiting with his lips puckered up. Just when Medaka lets his guard down, Mona chickens out. In the end, they make their purchase without any special deals. They rejoin the group. Mona's a bit miffed, but the day is not over yet. Asahi's got plans galore. Each attraction they visit is part of her scheme. Meanwhile, Mona just watches from the sidelines. In the bathroom, Tomo asks Mona when she's gonna make her move. She wonders if Mona's gonna let Asahi snag her first love. Mona denies it's her first love. Mona denies everything, getting flustered. Tomo just grins. She's happy seeing her friend's true colors shine through. Well, remember in high school how it was when girls talked about boys? She'd say she'd never been in love, but the real reason was that she just wasn't interested in those things. Tomo asked why she played along instead of just telling them she didn't like talking about it. Mona wanted to keep up her image as the popular girl who gets along with everyone. Tomo always thought Mona was never satisfied, despite being adored, always wanting more, even faking it. Tomo tells her she's sure people would still like her if she showed her true self. And Mona does show her real self when she's around Medaka. This makes Tomo happy, as her friend has finally met someone who can see past her facade. But she also tells Mona to be sure of her feelings, not wanting her to regret it later. Later, Tomo rejoins the group, leaving Mona to ponder his words. Mona realizes Tomo's teasing about Medaka stems from concern, not just fun. She wonders about Medaka's gaze, recalling Tomo's claim about her mask. While checking her phone, a crowd knocks it into the water, breaking it. Now unable to reach the group, Mona's approached by flirtatious guys. Meanwhile, the others search for her. Asahi wants to join Medaka, but he tells her to mind her ice cream. Asahi blames Minami for the 2 scoops, forgetting she ordered it herself. The guys are very forward with Mona. Mona's disgusted but can't bring herself to say it to their faces. Medaka arrives to save the day, sternly asking the others to back off.
Mona pretends to be his girlfriend to shoo the guys away, but they don't buy it. Seeing Medaka's serious face though, they decide to leave. Mona thanks him, blushing too hard to make eye contact. She calms down and asks Medaka to tell the others they met up, but Medaka finds himself in the same flustered state as Mona. A crowd surges, breaking his phone and knocking it into the water. Now they're both lost and can't contact anyone. Mona's nerves spike, realizing she's alone with Medaka until found. It's awkward, but Medaka spots the Ferris wheel Mona wants to ride. Mona's willing, despite the tight space and her racing heart. She agrees as thanks for Medaka's help earlier. Once inside, Medaka is amazed by the views, while Mona is so restless and nervous that she barely recognizes herself in the mirror. She recalls Tomo's words about how being near Medaka reveals her true self. Thinking back, she realizes that since meeting Medaka, she's always acted differently, unlike ever before. That's why she can't treat Medaka like others, and wonders if Tomo's right about him being her first love. All these thoughts make her yearn for answers. Mona impulsively moves towards Medaka, but trips and falls onto him. Flustered, she backs away, her heart racing. She recognizes this reaction as a sign of being in love. Mona covers her face, begging Medaka not to look at her. She says she's not pretty now and doesn't want him to see her like this, to which Medaka replies that she actually looks cute. Medaka tells her that sometimes she acts oddly and ends up confused. Hearing this, Mona feels discouraged, thinking Medaka has a poor opinion of her. She hides out of embarrassment. Medaka apologizes, explaining he's clumsy with words. That's why he sometimes thinks Mona gets upset with him. He meant her quirky gestures are cute and make his heart race. Mona's shocked by Medaka's words and feels a strange flutter in her chest. She thinks it's love, but wants Medaka to be the one in love, not her. Yet she realizes she's lost as she sees Medaka smile. Medaka smiles because he spots the others, meaning they're not lost anymore. But now Mona's lost, realizing she's fallen hard for Medaka. So Medaka and Mona return to the group, but both are still nervous about being together. They rejoin the group, and when Mona sees Tomo, she turns red as a tomato, proving Tomo right. Before Mona can speak, Asahi appears, upset that Mona was alone with Medaka, suspecting something happened. The group wants to eat, but Mona feels unwell and declines to join. They decide to postpone the meal for another time. On the train ride back, Tomo notices Mona acting strange and asks if something happened with Medaka. Mona blushes, denying it, but Tomo sees through her. Mona confesses everything, saying Medaka might know she gets nervous around him, but finds it cute. Tomo smiles, realizing Mona has finally become aware of her feelings. She teases Mona about asking Medaka to walk her home, but Mona refuses. Later, Mona follows Asahi to share something important, despite fearing Asahi's reaction. She confesses her love for Medaka. Asahi isn't surprised, having already noticed. In the end, Mona was the last to realize her feelings, but Asahi's glad she did. This motivates Asahi to pursue Medaka more seriously, showing her stronger feelings. Mona, determined, declares she won't give up. After all this, Mona falls ill and wonders what to do next, as she's always sought love but never felt it herself until now. She's unsure what follows after falling in love. In the morning, Mona video calls Tomo. Mona says being sick's got her down, but Tomo doesn't buy it. He thinks what's really bumming her out is not seeing Medaka. Mona blushes, so Tomo teases her by fetching Medaka for a chat. Mona panics, not dressed up. She rushes to fix her hair as Medaka sees her PJs. Medaka stays cool while Mona frantically combs her messy hair. Tomo leaves them alone to talk privately. Mona worries she's bothering Medaka and considers hanging up. Medaka assures her she's no bother, just nervous cause she looks. He stops short of saying cute, leaving the word unfinished. Mona relaxes as they chat about classes, their last outing, and more. Talking to Medaka lifts Mona's spirits so much that she forgets she's sick, feeling inexplicably happy. Her mom knocks, curious about who Mona's chatting with so animatedly. Blushing, Mona hides her tablet under her legs, forgetting she's on a video call, pointing at a private area. Medaka's heart skips a beat, maybe more. Realizing this, Mona throws her tablet in embarrassment. Medaka splashes cold water to clear his mind of sinful thoughts. Days later, Mona recovers. She thinks if just talking made her happy, doing couple things with Medaka might make her even happier. She decides to go all out to win Medaka's heart, determined not to let Saji beat her to it. She thanks Tomo, despite resenting it for all he put her through. She's still grateful. Now it's her turn to act. With Medaka by her side, she should do what she always has, but just looking at him makes her so nervous that words fail her. Medaka looks more handsome than ever. The slightest contact leaves her blushing and unable to react. Mona makes a strategic retreat, using illness as an excuse. Tomo laughs, knowing what's really happening. But this is just the start. Mona's ready to fight anything to make Medaka her boyfriend.